In this episode, Sienna and I are going to talk about sex. So let's get right to it.
I'm Sienna.
And I'm Toast.
We've been partners in life, love, and music since 2001. And we believe life is best lived as a love story. Your love story.
After all, to love well is to live well. For more, check out siennaandtoast.com. But for now, here's this episode.
Oh my gosh, after 13 years, we're finally going to talk about sex.
Can you believe we've been doing this podcast? Well, we started it in 2007.
I know. That's a long time.
I think George W. Bush wasn't George W. Bush president?
I don't know. It's a Google away.
Started this podcast before Obama was president.
Okay, look it up. I know.
Okay.
I know it's gonna bother you.
I'm pretty sure, but I feel embarrassed to.
I will let the listeners know that I just made Toast and I a fresh, organic coffee, and it is so delicious because we are using for a creamer Califia brand pecan caramel, and it is so delicious. So delicious. Non-dairy creamer. I think it's a blend of almond and coconut milk. It's so good, but it is highly, highly sweet. So we use a mix of Califia as well as just plain unsweetened coconut milk. So we are ready for this episode. Did you find out?
And meanwhile, people are just like, okay, start talking about sex already.
Okay, did you find out?
Oh.
Weren't you Googling?
This is just, this is how.
I'm not good at like keeping it, you know, how sometimes people have
George
to keep.
Oh, like filling time? Like you couldn't do Ryan Seacrest's
No, I
job?
cannot do it. Okay,
You did
are you
pretty good,
satisfied?
actually.
Do you need to do anything more about
No.
who was president in 2007?
No.
Okay.
So that's when we started this podcast, is before Obama was president, which just sounds like what? Okay.
All right. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us for this episode. And happy Chinese New Year. Chinese New Year started, the Lunar New Year started on January 25th. And I believe it goes for several weeks.
The Lunar New Year.
But we were recently at I guess it would be Portland's premier Japanese market.
Yeah. Uwajimaya.
Yes. What does that mean? Do you know?
I don't know.
Do you feel like Googling? No?
Sure.
Okay. While you Google.
Since I've been doing that so far.
You're the Googler this episode. So we went there. We probably go to this Japanese market. Are you finding it?
No.
Okay. See, I'm all distracted.
Oh, okay.
Reading your Googling.
So this is, okay. So ya means store in Japan. So Uwajima, ya, is simply named after the town of Uwajima.
Oh, okay.
Now, what does Uwajima mean? I don't know. But that's okay. It's kind of like asking what Portland means, right? It's kind of like asking anyway. Okay. You know what? I'm observing that maybe we're a little reluctant to talk about sex. And so we're like talking about all these other things.
I feel like we're a bit scattered and hyper.
Yeah.
I think the hyper is from the coffee. Okay. And yes, I would say that you're probably accurate.
Maybe.
Okay.
But we're going to plow ahead.
But I will say that I do have to say that I was delighted when we went to Uwajimaya and saw all of the Chinese New Year decorations up. Everywhere you looked, it was just splashed in beautiful reds and gold, which sounds so gaudy, but it's acceptable, right? Especially in Chinese New Year.
Yeah, those are the colors.
It felt like a mini second Christmas.
Right.
Because it was so festive in there. And they had this long table as soon as you entered the market that was dedicated to all the celebratory sweets and treats that are consumed in the Chinese New Year.
The traditional foods.
It was just beautiful. And this is the year of the golden rat.
A golden rat?
Mm-hmm. It's a golden rat.
Oh.
I don't know why it's golden.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
It's a golden rat.
I'll go with that.
Okay.
I'll accept that. What's kind of interesting is that you'll see a similar display of a lot of red candies in like the drugstore, but that's for Valentine's. But it kind of reminds me of the same. It's like, okay, everybody's getting ready for the next holiday.
That's true. But I was very happy while we were in the Japanese market that 2 of my favorite fruits on the planet were available. And this would be lychee. Some people call it lychee, right? But lychee. And
we're Hawaii people, so we call it lychee.
And both lychee and cherimoya was available for $14.99 a pound.
Ay, ay, ay.
I know.
That's what you call, I think the Japanese word for it is takai. That means expensive.
Really?
I think. Yeah, if I recall. Yeah, too expensive.
Anywho. All right.
See, that's why in Hawaii, when we move there, we're going to be so much more appreciative and grateful for the quote unquote exotic produce that we just grow up. We grew up with avocado trees and papaya trees and banana trees and guava trees in our backyard, right? Mango trees, lychee trees, just for free. You just go out there.
And families are always going,
sharing,
like trying to get rid of it, right? Because
trying
they
to
have
just
too much. They don't want to waste it.
Yeah.
It is crazy.
So
$14.99 a pound.
So it kind of, makes you homesick a little bit, especially when they're playing Hawaiian music.
They played, yes, and I appreciated that so much. And I feel like as soon as they started playing Hawaiian music, I felt like I just relaxed.
You felt like you're transported
because
to
I
the
think
islands
that
again?
There is cellular memory of certain songs and kinds of music. And so when we hear it later, we have a cellular reaction that then
the energy
moves
pattern reaction.
Yeah, and then it's like, just calm down. It's kind of like when you're living on the mainland and you're flying home for whatever reason, you might be flying home.
Yeah.
And the plane lands, and you know how no one listens to waiting for the plane to stop, right?
Yeah. Please remain seated until the
and
pilot
you hear
has
all
turned
the belts just clicking open.
Well,
everyone they're standing up and they're getting ready to leave. But anyways,
okay.
As we all wait in our odd positions,
crouched down, ready,
half standing,
your hand is on the handle,
your butt's on the seat handle, right? All that stuff. They start playing the Hawaiian music. I love that moment.
I
love that moment.
Yeah, okay, that's so true. You're right.
I am so missing home now.
Yeah. Oh.
All right, that's okay. And you know what I miss too? The sushi. Oh my God. How hard is it
to get sushi, the roll kind.
A really good sushi out here? Come on, Portland. Help us.
So what's been neat is like I've been inspired to start cooking more Japanese food.
I know, it's very exciting. Yeah. But I think we should save that for the next episode.
Okay, all right.
Because there's so much to say about Japanese cooking.
Because let's start talking about
sex.
That
you are getting into. So, yeah. Okay, so on to the topic.
Yes.
So Toast and I have hesitated having sex as a topic for any of our podcasts for a long time, 13 years. And not that it's come up so much, but sex is a normal, healthy part of life.
Yes.
And I think you and I have, I guess, grown up since or have allowed more perspectives.
Okay.
So that we can feel at least somewhat comfortable sharing about this topic today.
Okay. Yes.
So that is
comfortable
what we're doing.
enough.
Comfortable enough.
Yeah.
But first, before we get into it, we need to say to our dear family and dear personal friends that also listen to our podcast, this is probably not the podcast you really want to listen to, maybe. I don't know. It's like when you know someone, you don't really want to even think of them having sex. And so
this is your off-ramp. This is your exit.
Friends, move on.
Okay. I'll give you a chance to exit
give
this
you a moment.
Episode.
All right. Okay. So anyways.
Okay, now it's just the rest of us here.
Yes, now it's the rest of us.
So I want to address the reasons for our reluctance to to discuss sex as a podcast topic. And one of the reasons is because of the unfortunate stereotypical depiction of people in the LGBTQ community in regards to sex.
Yeah.
I think that for so many years and decades, fortunately, things have been changing. But for a really, really long time, the fixation on what LGBTQ people do in the bedroom was like off-putting. And we just didn't want to. It's like, you know what? Our fight for equality and our fight to be seen as whole, well-rounded, legitimate, valid human beings required us to insist on seeing us as whole people, not just talking about like what our sex lives are like. Because being LGBTQ, of course, sex is a part of it, but it's just a part. You know, you can be LGBTQ and not even have sex. It's not about what you do in the sex act that makes you LGBTQ. At least for me. Like, it's about how you feel. It's about how you identify inside. It's about how you conceive of yourself and relate to others on a spiritual and energetic level. It's not just what you do in a sex act.
Right. And I remember that, I don't know why, I think I was just curious and I was Googling gifts for lesbians, something like that.
Okay.
This was like
a holiday gift guide.
A few years ago.
Okay.
And I found several lists of like the top gifts. And so I looked at the most recently put together one.
Okay.
And it had, for almost all of it, everything having to do with sex. So it had certain things, like certain toys. It had certain, things to enhance your sex life. Aside from toys,
tools and potions, and
feathery things, and just all kinds of but everything on that gift list, where I was curious to look for, like, I wonder what could I get you? Like, what could be some ideas? Like, what
a cool knife for a dyke.
Yeah, or like, or the dyke list, the femme list.
Hers and hers bath towels.
Right,
or
something.
Robes, or like love wins type of stuff. Like,
right. But everything, there was like glass dildos. There were like...
and we don't identify with that. Like, we don't... And there's nothing wrong with it. But... We're like...
Wait, what do you mean we don't identify?
Like, we don't... Like, if... Like, full disclosure, we don't have a glass dildo.
Oh, right.
We don't have a dildo.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, what... Yeah.
Not that... Okay, we're setting ourselves up to sound like we're such prudes, but we're not.
Okay.
And this podcast is not about what sex toys we own. Right?
Right.
Okay. So I just need to say that. But right, we do not own any glass dildos. Okay.
But
anyways.
So all
that's
of this...
not the point of this podcast.
So that whole recent... all of this rant that you heard in the past few minutes is just, again, to shine the light on,
we're more than sex.
Yeah. Every single one of us, whether you're in the LGBTQ community or not, if you are a human being, and to fixate on sex and to identify a person based on what sex acts they do, it's like, no, we're way more than that. So that's one of the reasons why we decided to not even talk about sex on this podcast in the past.
Yeah. However. We decided it was time to talk about it, to share maybe other perspectives on it, because as much as we don't want to be reduced to just
a sex act.
Yeah. sex is very important.
Yes. And also too, things have changed for the better. I think society at large is realizing and is finally coming to be like, oh yeah, no, they're just human beings. These lesbian people, they're like, wow,
yeah,
I don't have to freak out. It's like
right.
about how they're weird when it comes to sex. No, they're just, we're all normal people.
And we do have to say that we are speaking, obviously, as lesbians. And from speaking with our good gay guy friends, several couples, long-standing relationship couples, the dynamic is very different, I think, when it comes to sex. We won't get into that because we can't speak on behalf of our gay guy friends, but we've noticed there are differences between the energetics of sex in a lesbian relationship versus that in a gay guy relationship.
And obviously we're not therapists, we're not psychiatrists or psychologists or relationship counselors by profession, but we wanted to do this episode and just speak very forthrightly about sex.
What's helped us?
Yeah.
What,
Okay. So, and we're talking about sex in this episode. We're talking about sex within a committed monogamous relationship.
We've been together. So come July of this year, July 2020, we will have been together for 19 years. So
that's the perspective we're coming to this discussion from.
Yes.
Okay. Are we ready?
All right. We're finally ready. It took us so long. I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
Thought this was going to be easier. Oh, oops. I have one more thing to say, though.
Okay.
Okay. So I absolutely believe that out there are committed lesbian relationships where possibly sex is not that important.
Right.
And yet maybe those relationships are flourishing.
Yeah.
So I just want to acknowledge that there are probably relationships like that. For us, sex it's important. We have seen and felt the difference when we're not having sex and when we are having sex, how that impacts the rest of our the other areas of our lives. And so we prefer
and our connection.
And so we prefer and choose a life that has sex in it. And it's important to us. So we make sure to do our best to do the things to prioritize it.
Be aware of it.
So I just want to say that. I don't want to claim that sex needs to be important for everybody.
Right.
But it's important to me.
Yeah, we're just acknowledging that there are many ways to have successful, fulfilling, rewarding relationships.
Yes.
But if you're interested in our perspective and what we've encountered in terms of issues within our relationship, within our friends' relationship, we're going to keep them private. We're not going to divulge any names or anything. It might be helpful.
Okay. So
ready.
So first we want to talk about LBD. What is LBD? It is not. It is not. Actually, it is. LBD stands for Little Black Dress, and every woman should have one. But it is true. Everyone should have a little black dress, or 2 or 3 or 4. But in the lesbian world,
you don't want LBD.
You don't want LBD because that stands for Lesbian Bed Death. So it's basically a relationship that has no sex in it.
It's kind of like the lesbian version of a sexless marriage.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Lesbian bed death.
And I know we just got through saying that there are probably relationships that, I don't know, that are flourishing without that. Mm-hmm. But lesbian bed death is something that is real for couples where their relationship maybe is going downhill, possibly due to not having that connection. Right. And not having that connection.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And also, I would say that I think this whole lesbian bed death thing,
Mm-hmm.
like having a sexless relationship and being dissatisfied with that.
Yeah.
Right. Not being like, that's a problem. And that's an issue that I think is a reality, or can become a reality for people in more mature relationships, right? Mm-hmm. People who have been together longer, people who are older also, because hormones just
your hormones change,
play a part in that.
And you're not just dealing with your own hormones, you're dealing with your partner's hormones as well.
Right.
So it can get so complex and
not to
very
mention,
challenging.
Yeah, and not to mention just the increased responsibilities and burdens that are placed on you as you get older, in terms of, whether it's job or family or people who are raising children, people who have more responsibilities. It all impacts our lives, including our sex lives.
Yes.
So,
and so, Toast and I, you can imagine, having been together for almost 19 years now, we've had dry spells, I would say, but nothing everlasting, because sex is is important to us. Never really lasting. I mean, not even a month, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah. So, but we used to feel like the solution to taking care of and preventing LBD is to just schedule it. You just have to schedule sex. You just have to write it in the calendar and just do it. And
it's like going to the grocery store.
Yeah.
It's like, gotta stock the fridge up.
And then just by, and whether you feel like doing it or not, just do it. Because
and we've done that.
Once you start doing it, you're happy you started doing it. Right. And then every time you're done doing it, you never feel like, oh, I wish we didn't do that.
That was a bad decision.
Yeah.
Regret that one.
You always, I would imagine this is probably common for most folks. Like after you do it, you're like, why don't we do that more often?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So normally the idea has been just schedule it. And so as Toast mentioned, we have done that in the past.
We still sometimes do it. We haven't ruled it out. Let me say that.
We don't write it in a calendar. Like, okay, we're going to do it on this day and we're going to do it on that day. We don't write it out.
Right.
But we have...
Although we did try that.
We did try that. Yes. Yeah. In the past, we have tried that. But I think we have come to a place now where we're realizing that what's more important than that is prioritizing just like connecting with your partner.
Emotional connection.
Emotional, spiritual. And when you prioritize that connection, then sex is a natural evolution of that, of just that, authentic connection with each other.
Right. And really, honestly, ideally, that's what sex is, right?
Yeah.
It's an outgrowth of a genuine and authentic connection.
Yes.
One of the things that has really helped us, that we've covered in a previous episode, is to be aware of our love languages, to be aware of your own and to be aware of your partner's.
Yes.
And this is a way that we have found, we can more effectively convey our feelings to each other, right? And to be heard by the other person, and to genuinely hear the other person. It really fosters this atmosphere of respect, and it helps. I think it's helped us to really feel seen, by the other person, be seen and understood. Because some of the most difficult, most sad, most frustrating things have been to to be trying your hardest to communicate your care for the other person and your good intentions. And then your partner's like totally not getting it.
Yeah.
That's really difficult.
And that's been us, you know? Mm-hmm. And so you want to make sure you have an idea of what language your partner speaks, mm-hmm. what conveys to them that you love them.
Right. Is it quality time?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe it's gifts, mm-hmm. giving them gifts.
Acts of service. Gifts. I think it's acts of service. So check out love languages mm-hmm. to see what yours might be and what your partner's is. Our intention has always been to uplift, entertain, and encourage people, especially fellow LGBTQers and progressive allies around the world, ever since we first started podcasting in 2007. Over the years, we've continued to get messages from listeners who've shared how this podcast has helped them through difficult times like coming out, rejection from family, dealing with religion, or living in the closet, just helping them feel more understood, less alone, and keeping them going, reminding them and showing them that life is worthwhile. And someone even sent us a cake.
That's right. It was good, too.
But this is exactly why we do the podcast. Not for the cake, but
because we only got a cake once.
Yeah.
But we've been self-financing this podcast since 2007. For 13 years now.
But now, for the first time, we're extending an invitation and a way for you, the listener, to play a part in supporting the podcast.
And we thank you so much for your consideration in doing that.
And if you decide to contribute, thank you for that too.
And you can do that by going to siennaandtoast.com/contribute.
You know, another reason that I wanted to mention, I think that lesbian bed death happens so often is because the connection is between two women.
Yeah, and that's one of our theories. Yep.
Yeah, and women nurture in so many different ways. So
the feminine energy is a nurturing energy, right?
It is a nurturing energy. So you can sometimes feel that maybe nothing's missing. Mm-hmm. You know, you feel so nurtured and loved in so many different ways that the sex doesn't feel so, so important mm-hmm. because you do feel the connection in other ways.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
So I think that's interesting. And I think maybe that's why lesbian bed death can go on for so long and the relationship can still stay intact because it's fed by those other nurturing ways.
It's that long time companion
kind of
right thing.
Yeah.
It's like, it's based on that friendship. And I mean, I guess ideally it's always based on that friendship.
Right.
But I know what you mean with when two women, the whole feminine thing. I think the feminine way of connecting generally is more, there is a deeper intimacy just inherent in the feminine way of connecting.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess maybe that can replace or make up for the physical intimacy that might not be happening, right?
Yeah. That's well said. Yeah. Yeah, and I noticed that for me, look, when I've dated guys in the past, I found it was just such a different kind of connection. And I'm not even talking about sex. I'm talking about just connecting with a guy.
Energy-wise.
Versus connecting with women. There's something, maybe that's why I'm a lesbian.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know from a straight person, like what, but they wouldn't know the connection with a woman, right? Unless it was their friend. But anyways, I found that connecting with women was just available. It was just right there. It felt easy. It was just...
Well, that's where the U-Haul joke comes in, right? Because it's as soon as two women
connect,
meet,
it's
like,
load up
we're
the
gonna...
U-Haul.
Yeah.
Live together, have your cat. Have your cat, your truck, your plaid. You're done. All right. So anyways,
okay, so what we also wanted to cover is how instead of just schedule it when we're talking about sex, right? About how it's prioritizing the connection, and we wanted to go deeper into that, and about how really at its essence, sex is it's an expression of this connection. It's about the web of life and how everything is connected. And Sienna, you had brought up how it's related to the second chakra.
Right.
So we can talk about that and this whole thing of connection.
Yeah, I mean, I think, we'll
fertility.
have to have maybe other follow-up sex episodes.
Okay.
Because I feel like I'm sort of skirting around certain things that I want to say, but I feel like I don't want to offend anyone. And so,
or be misunderstood, right?
Yeah,
it does take time to clarify things to the degree to prevent as much misunderstanding as possible.
Especially on this topic.
Yes.
So I want to, hopefully we'll have more opportunities, because I feel a little distracted on other things I might want to say, but I'm like, I'm not saying it. And so anyways, okay, but let's get back to, so second chakra. So I'm in the camp of wanting to say that sex is just so important. So if you are my close personal friend, and you have probably heard from me that me telling you to prioritize sex, because I can't tell you how many times that tends to come up in discussions with certain friends. And I'm there just championing for making sure you keep that part of your life alive. And the reason for that is because, to me, sex is so much more than just that physical act that we tend to think. And it's also much more than just that release, that physical release, even the de-stressor, because it's such a de-stressor.
Yes.
Or even, hey, let's have sex because I can't sleep. Put me to sleep here, right? Like, I can't sleep. So even that, it's a relaxant. All of that is true. But
there's more.
And there's more, right? And so, part of me being a pusher for sex is that sex, as Toast just mentioned, is connected to the second chakra. So we have chakras, and basically, in just simple language, chakras are energy vortexes on the body, and they govern certain areas of our life. So it's like how everyone is coming to believe that the body doesn't lie, right? The body is connected to areas of our lives.
Yeah, the subconscious.
We're all connected. Everything is connected.
Yes.
Right? So when you have a physical manifestation in your body, it is very often associated to an energetic dis-ease. So it's interesting that the word disease is really dis-ease, and you can often connect it to an energetic part. So whether it's the chakras, whether it's your ethereal body, whatever it might be. So sex is in the second chakra of the body, which is below your navel and above your pubic bone.
Okay.
So when you think of that area, right? And anytime you want to energize it, your sexual energy and area, you can imagine that part of your body just breathing in and out. So when you take your breaths in and you exhale, you are focusing that inhalation and exhalation in that portion of the body. And that's really helping to energize your second chakra. Now, why is that so important for us? It's important because the second chakra governs creativity. So it's governing what you create in the world. It's governing your work, your career, what you are meant to do in this lifetime. It's also governing not just your sexual relationship, your person that you're having sex with, but how you relate to other people in your life. So second chakra is all about relationships, but it's also the area for money. So that's why, I mean, in a way, you can see how we're so messed up when it comes to these hot topics of sex, money, relationships. You know, it can get so confusing, but it's all second chakra related. So when you work on one area, so whether it's actually making sure you prioritize connection with your partner and you make sure to have sex, believe that using the energy in that way is going to energize these other areas of your life, how you create your money life, your other relationships in your life. You know, it just fortifies that part of your energetic body that then bleeds out into the rest of your life. Oh, and something I forgot to share earlier is that even though Toast and I don't regularly make sure sex is in the schedule. What we still absolutely do though is we do write down when we've done it. That's super important.
It's like a scrapbook of sex.
Well, why
it's not. It's important. It's just a mark of like, whoa.
It's important because you need a black and white, you need a measure of, you know, how are you doing it or you're not doing it? Because don't rely on your memory.
Yeah, because it's a reality check.
Yeah, because sometimes I'll be like, gosh, we have not done it in like, I don't know, a month. But then I'll look and it's like, oh, it's been
2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks or 1 week or whatever it might be. And so you want to have a measure that is accurate.
Yeah, it's helpful to
Don't rely on your mind.
Yeah, right.
Let's leave it at that for now.
Okay.
All right. So let me just say thank you for staying with us.
Hope you enjoyed this sex episode.
And hope you found something useful in this episode. So happy to be on this journey with you all. And until next time, this is Sienna.
And this is Toast, encouraging you, supporting you. Live your love story.